Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss? Where today I'll be breaking down the final episode of the second season of Star Trek Picard, titled Farewell, and looking for all the Easter eggs and references that you may have missed. Even though a lot of my theories this season were confirmed in this episode, I still found the finale to be charming in the way that it gave a few of the new characters that we have learned to love these past two seasons a pretty good ending. I was also pleasantly surprised by the cameo appearance of a well-traveled former castmate of Picard, as well as saddened by the end of the arc of one of the most enigmatic characters in Star Trek history. But before I get into the finale, I wanted to thank you for clicking on this video, and an extra special thank you if you found my channel during this season of Picard and have been watching all my videos. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoy the content, and subscribe for future videos, as I am now covering Strange New Worlds, and I have already put out a video for the first episode that I will link here and in the description if you'd like to check it out. The episode begins with Picard explaining to Tallinn and Rios about the bullet holes that are now on the wall of his family home, and that he remembered being told about them as a child. This confirms that the events this season are part of a temporal paradox that Picard was always meant to face. This also foreshadows a very powerful moment with Picard later in the episode in regards to his mother. Tallinn uses her transporter to send the crew from Chateau Picard to her apartment in Los Angeles. It was established earlier this season that Tallinn is part of the same organization that Gary 7, a character that debuted on the original series episode Assignment Earth, was also a part of. I know that I've covered this fact before this season, but I'm not sure who has been watching my videos, so some things that I think are really important I would just go over quickly. Tallinn tries to transport to Renee by herself, and Picard jumps into the transporter with her. I had to laugh because this reminded me of the scene from Star Trek The Voyage Home, in which Dr. Gillian Taylor jumps into James Kirk's arms during a transport to get onto his ship. Since that movie follows a very similar story regarding time travel, I feel like the writers on Picard this season have referenced this movie in almost every episode. After the intro, the shot begins from Jupiter and takes us back down to Earth, and the ship sending Renee into space. This will be the flight path of the Europa mission, as Europa is one of the moons of the planet. Raffi, Seven, and Rios transport to Adam Soong's house and find that he has drones set up to attack the ship. I couldn't help but notice that each of these 4 drones has 4 lights on them, possibly referencing one of the most famous lines that Picard has ever spoken.
There are 4 lights!
Tallinn is able to catch up with Renee and meets her for the first time. She tells Renee a story about her as a little girl at her mother's funeral, which means that both Renee and Jean-Luc Picard have lost their mothers when they were children, and that loss propelled them to amazing accomplishment even though they struggled with the loss their entire life. Next to Renee is the book The Pallid Sun, which we also saw her reading in the 4th episode this season, The Watcher. Being a fan of this story is another thing that Renee and Jean-Luc have in common, as the main character of the novel is Dixon Hill. Jean-Luc Picard played Dixon Hill on the holodeck on more than one occasion, including a memorable scene in the film First Contact. Tallinn as Renee is poisoned by Adam Soong, and I noticed that the way he applied the toxin was the same way that Agnes, as the new Borg Queen, assimilated the soldiers a few episodes ago. It is also like the way we saw mind meld performed on a young Agent Wells earlier this season. I guess that Picard Season 2 is telling us viewers, don't let people touch your face. As Tallinn and Jean-Luc share a final moment together, he tells her to look up. This is the same thing that he remembered his mother telling him as a boy, and what the new Borg Queen told him in the first episode. Tallinn dying in Picard's arms is pretty sad, but it's even worse when you realize that Picard would have had to destroy her body as well, since they can't have a corpse of a Romulan just lying around. Adam soon returns home to find that his mission has failed, and that Kore has deleted all of his files pertaining to her and her sisters. He then sits down and picks up a file titled Project Khan. One of my persistent theories this season is that the Soong plotline would be connected to Khan, and this file seems to confirm that. It looks like this is the beginnings of the Soong family obsession with genetic engineering that will continue on until a descendant of Adam named Eric Soong is able to create human augments. These events were shown on the series Star Trek Enterprise over a 3-episode arc that ended in the episode Augments. The file is dated June 7th, 1996, and it was stated before on screen that Khan and his followers escaped Earth in 1996 during the original series episode Space Seed. But the producers on Picard have also said that even though it has been established that the eugenics wars occurred in the 90s and ended in 96 when Khan escaped, that this could be retconned or updated. Picard even remarked this season that since during World War III so much of society was destroyed, that records from before this time period are not consistently accurate. The fact that this is a funding report would suggest that on this date, the project is in its very early stages, and since Khan and his followers were genetically engineered from birth, then they would not have been a threat to the world in 1996 or at any point in the 90s if this was the case. not to mention the time it would take for research and development before the science was perfected. I think that what this does hint at is that Khan has yet to be created and that Adam soon will be the man to bring this project to fruition. This could mean that this is not the last we see of this member of the Soong family, and there have been rumors of a series based around Khan for some time. In fact, on the new series Strange New Worlds, there is a character with the name Noonien Singh that may be a descendant of Khan. So I believe that we'll be seeing a lot more of the story in the near future, whether it be during the series Strange New Worlds or in a new series or miniseries about the character's history. Then we get a huge surprise as we finally get to see the return of Wil Wheaton as Wesley Crusher, or the Traveler. He explains that he is part of a group of beings that manage people like Tallinn and Gary 7 to help the flow of time throughout the universe. The last time we saw Wesley technically was at the wedding of Will Riker and Deanna Troi in the film Star Trek Nemesis, but before that he left the ship in the last season of The Next Generation to become a traveler and explore the galaxy. Wesley also compares the universe to a tapestry, which could be a reference to the Next Generation episode named Tapestry that also included Q sending Picard on a what-if story through time. I was pretty shocked to see Wesley return, but I am glad that he did since the rest of his castmates will be a part of Season 3 of Picard. But it is sad that he and Picard did not get to share a scene together because I really just wanted to hear Picard say this one more time.
But shut up, Wesley.
In one of the saddest scenes I think in all of Star Trek, Jean-Luc Picard must leave the key to his mother's bedroom in the wall, knowing that him finding it as a child over 100 years later is what will allow his mother to kill herself. Then Q appears and reveals that this choice is what this entire adventure was about for him. I really loved how this story was wrapped up between them, and if you did not tear up when Q and Picard finally hug, then I believe you may be dead inside. Q offers to send them back to their proper time, but Rios decides to stay behind. This is another theory that I've been knocking around since the beginning of the season, since Rios has been so comfortable in this time period with Dr. Ramirez and her son Ricardo. When Picard returns to the Stargazer, he stops the auto-destruct sequence and allows the Borg Queen to assimilate the ship and the rest of the fleet after realizing that the song playing is one he told Agnes about during the episode Watcher. The Queen then reveals herself to be Darth Jurati, who has come to protect their quadrant from another threat. Agnes becoming the Queen was another reveal that I predicted all the way back in the second episode of the season, but I'm a bit confused as to where she has been since their adventure in the 21st century. She shouldn't be from another universe since she was created in the same time paradox that put Rios on Earth and in Guinan's bar later on in his life. Let me know in the comments if you understand any more about this version of Agnes and where she came from, because right now I'm pretty confused by it. Since the Stargazer no longer has a captain, now that Rios stayed behind in the past, Admiral Picard gives a field commission to Seven as the new captain of the ship. This rectifies the errant decision that Starfleet made not to allow Seven to join their ranks, as revealed in the episode Hide and Seek. Also, one of the bridge crew on the Stargazer is a Halayan, and this species was seen once before on the Next Generation episode titled Equiel, which is also the name of one of the many women that Geordi LaFrenzone pursued on the Enterprise. Agnes asks to join the Federation provisionally, and I believe that she's asking on behalf of all Borg. I'm not sure if she has assumed control of all the Borg now in this universe as well, or if she's only talking about the Borg on her ship. After the immediate threat is over, Picard goes to visit Guinan, who reveals that she knew that Rios would stay behind and that she met him in the past. She also reveals that Rios and the Doctor started a movement called the Butterflies, an obvious reference to how Agnes explained what contaminating the timeline would do that he never bothered to listen to. When Picard and company share a drink at the end of the episode, you can hear the Next Generation movie theme play in the background. I also had to laugh when they gave Elnor a shot and he said that it was awful, because it reminded me of this scene with Data in the film Generations that also included Guinan.
Oh, yes! I hate this! It is revolting!
More?
Please.
Well, that was everything I saw, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you once again for joining me this season on Picard. I appreciate you clicking on the video, and if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?